Welcome back to another episode of On a Mission. I'm your host, Dr. Wendy Norfleet, and it is my pleasure to have with me Jane Marie with Overland Missions. Welcome, Jane.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
So, Jane, all right, let me get this straight. You run the mission school for Overland Missions.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so first, tell us a little bit about Overland Missions.
Yes, so Overland Missions is an international non-for-profit. Their goal is to go to the most remote places of the world. Our president, I could think the fun little backstory, our president, he's South African, and he was in a proxy war in Angola when he was very young. And that's where he found a nomadic tribe, where he was so convicted that the army was there and the church wasn't. And so he created this missions organization to be able to be equipped to go to the most remote places in the world. And so we are working in 16 countries, and our goal is to remain gospel-centered, to get there and to disciple, create leaders, and then make a viral movement of God in both the capacity of a spiritual leader on the ground, but also practically and sustainably a viral impact.
Okay, that sounds phenomenal. And so how did you get involved? Because obviously running a mission school, a missionary school is not something I usually hear about.
Okay. Yeah, neither. I've never heard of it either. I had grew up never knowing missionaries, never knowing the idea of it. When I was 22 years old, I was actually working here locally. I was a marketing coordinator for Goodwill. And I had a friend who was telling me about these trips. So I decided to go out for 2 weeks. And I went to Zambia, which is now where I live, ironically. And I spent 2 weeks working with our long-term missionary there on the ground. His name was Tom Siachitama, and we just helped reach a village for 2 weeks and just share the good news of the gospel, house to house. And then after that, I just felt like the Lord was calling me to, not to business, but to ministry overseas. And so I spent 4 years primarily in Cambodia, Vietnam, and Brazil. And then after that, the organization offered us to take over the mission school. And so the mission school, it's what the point of it is people who have a desire to be a career missionary. First off, they need to be equipped.
Right.
With
you kind of help us. Part of that is helping set expectations.
Yes.
Okay.
Set expectations. So we don't do it here in Jacksonville.
Right.
We bring them overseas so they know what it feels like to do cross-cultural communication, to live internationally. And so it's right now, like, our organization's over 300 people, and they're all represented by 17 different nations. So It's very multicultural. And so what does it look like to live multicultural out of your home country? And so we teach them that. We teach them how to be physically and spiritually prepared to be on the mission field full time. And at the end of the school, they decide, is this a career I want? Is this not a career I want? But Jacksonville has always been such a huge blessing because they have always not only sent out the missionaries, but they've funded the missionaries. They have just been a huge, huge asset for us. And I think one of my favorite stories is we had a student in 2019. She came out, she's very young. She went to UF for agriculture, and now she's in our Farming God's Way program. And one of the villages in Zambia that are considered to be one of the more, like, I would say, how do I word this? Just more, from a Zambian point of view, a little bit scary to live here in this one area. She has brought this Farming God's Way structure for agriculture, and she has seen such sustainability in the fields and in the people's hearts, and there's just been such a big transformation happening there. And she's only been on the field for 2 years, and she graduated in 2019, and so it's just been very exciting to see how Jacksonville's impacted international missions, because my heart has always been in Jacksonville.
Wow, that is, and you're from Jacksonville, so that's unique.
Yeah.
That you decided you stay overseas about 8 months out of the year, right?
That's my current rotation. The majority of our missionaries are an 18-month to 4-month rotation. But my position, because of the school, I'm overseas 8 to 10 months, and then back in the States 2 to 4 months to connect with our students that are from this country, and then also connect with the churches and different partners that are involved in the organization. So
how long is the missionary school? Like, if I sign up and I want to be a missionary, how long is the process?
Yeah, it's 3 months.
Okay.
So the school lasts from May to August, or August to November. The May class, you have the option to spend the first 6 weeks either in the Middle East, Brazil, Mozambique or Zambia, and you'll spend the second 6 weeks in Zambia. And then the August class, you'll spend the entire 3 months in Zambia. We cover 16 different courses, ranging from cross-cultural communication, leadership, which you would be an amazing speaker at that class, to theology, essential doctrines, and then also we have a lot of hands-on practical training where we send you out in the bush for 3 weeks, and you can apply what you're learning, and it's a good time.
Okay. I don't know if everyone would think that's a good time, but okay. But no, I can see that it really equips, because I think a lot of times, I think churches are really big on missionary work, and I grew up in I'm big church, and definitely we did a lot of missionary work locally, and we had a group that went overseas. But a lot of times, I think people are not prepared for it. You may meet a few people from other cultures here, but living in their shoes is a lot different.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you with the heart that you have in building leaders, you would know that we could teach you whatever we want in 3 months, but you won't learn it until you're on the field.
Correct.
Until you do it for a year, and 2 or 3, or the rest of your life, you're constantly learning.
Right.
And I will say the living cross-culturally is definitely my favorite part of the job. I mean, it's just really incredible to see that the gospel that I grew up hearing about and then eventually dedicating my life to and then living it out, to see how it's the same gospel in every nation, to hear the message that impacted my life, to sit down with my Cambodian disciple and then see it impact their life, and then we live on the Amazon.
It's the same words. So,
yeah, same word, same power, and that's been so beautiful. And then, I guess the most difficult part for me is just always adapting to time zones. I have a 1-year-old, and so that's always like a feat for me to get him time zone to time zone. And
they're a little bit more adjustable. It's probably you. It's probably you that needs more. So, if someone's interested in learning more about this, if they, maybe want to get connected, donate, whatever, how do they get contact with you?
That's a good question. If you want to talk to someone individually, they can reach out to me. I don't mind. My email is janemarie@overlandmissions.com. They can reach out to me on Facebook. I absolutely don't mind. Or they can go to our website, overlandmissions.com. They can call our office, which is located in Cocoa, Florida, so not too far.
Okay, I've been
there. They can call our offices there and go check out our website, however they feel most comfortable.
Okay. And if they're lucky, if you're on your rotation 2 to 4 months here, they may even run into you.
Yeah, say hi if they do, please.
Okay. Jane, thank you so much for sharing. This is such a great organization that you're running.
Thank you.
I just think that it's needed. I think a lot of times people need to know what they're getting into. And I think we talked a little bit about, even if they don't work overseas, if they take what they learn and bring it back,
absolutely,
then they're more engaged in the community.
Absolutely. I think one of my favorite stories, there was a gentleman who came out in one of our 2 weeks. We have a short-term trip to assist our long-term work. And he came back from that trip so on fire for his faith and just feeling so equipped on who God is and who God's created him to be, that he just had vision for his life. He came back, he opened up a coffee shop, and every Saturday night that coffee shop was just a free coffee, a place for the community to gather, to dream, to inspire, to strategize, and they'd worship, and just how that small movement started impacting their community, both on a faith level and a practical level of the entrepreneurial heart. And I think that's God's desire, is to see people not just reconciled back to him and thriving in spirituality, but to do something
forward, taking it and making it their own, however that is,
and making an impact economically, like he wants to see everything reconciled, not just on a spiritual level but on a physical level. He wants to see the people fully back under what his intention was in the beginning, which was to live in unity with him and to enjoy the fruits of the land. And
that's a great example. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been wonderful.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of On a Mission. To learn more about Jane Marie and Overland Missions, please go to overlandmissions.com or iwannabuzz.com, and we'll see you next time on Buzz TV.